Power Pod with Pat and Dan. Preview show for the Rising Showdown 2026.
All right. Welcome to this preview show of the Rising Showdown 2026. And I'm joined here by my old colleague and friend Dan. What's up?
What's up? How's it going?
And we figured since this meet is gonna be probably the most stacked that the UE region have seen, we kind of thought we are gonna do a little bit of preview show as the big boys are doing, and just go through some of the interesting names because there's some things in play here. Obviously, it's a great competition. We've all been there. The vibe is great, and there's some proper battles going on. But this is also as we all know, the last competition that's being done before the IPF Worlds that is planned to be hosted in the UAE in Fujairah. Um, we are recording this on the 5th of March, so with the caveat that we don't really know how the situation is in the region by then, but we have to go with what the facts we know, and that is that the Worlds is going to be in Fujairah, UAE. So it's also the last chance for people to show their best and put their name forward for being in the national team. And yeah, that's obviously not up to us to select, but we're gonna go through the categories from the women's light to the men's heavy, and then also looking at the overall. Give our picks for who we're gonna think gonna be in the top three in both like the respective women's middle, light, and heavyweight, and so for the guys, and also for the overall. And if there's someone that sticks out into the in the actual weight categories themselves. Do you have anything to add,
Yeah.
Dan?
Yeah, no, I just think, like you said, it's probably going to be one of the, if not the highest caliber of lifting that we've seen in the region since kind of all of this has begun. I think when we're going through the points, when we're doing our bit of scouting, we can see, there are girls now in the 100 kind of plus IPF points, of which before there was only maybe one. Now we seem to have a couple. There's plenty of girls getting really close to that 100 points, and the same with the guys. So I think it's really exciting. It's going to be a great competition, and I think hopefully this does kind of show people the caliber that's coming through and get some people really excited to see the battles that are coming up.
Yeah, and I think there are obviously we will pretty much in the community in the country know most of these people. I think there are a few that people in general are not super well known, and that will be I think will be some of the more exciting bits. We have to say some really good guest lifters coming in, and a few of them will make
Mm.
some proper noise. We have to also remind everyone watching that they are not actually in the competition in the categories, but they will of course they will do a result that they can take for qualifying for their own national team as such. But there are some of them which are really, really good. So we'll mention them also.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's just dive into the women's lightweight category, which is the 47 up to the 57. And we have no 47 category girls, but we have a
Mm.
few 52 and 57. And if we are correct, this is one, two, three, four, five, six, seven girls. Um, and I do think we have a pretty solid top three, at least from where we're sitting. And I
Yes.
think both me and Dan agrees, which is Naya, Bex, Rebecca, and Mariam, then from over in Fujairah.
Yes.
So what is your I know that obviously Dan would have a little bit of insight on this since he trains Bex and I see her train every day, so we have a little bit insight there. I don't know if you
Yeah.
have any insights on Naya. I don't see her train, but maybe you do.
No, we live in kind of different worlds in the gyms that she's in. I'm in the morning and she's in the evening. But I think I don't know if there's anything that would necessarily suggest that those numbers aren't going to be achievable that she has nominated. And, based on the fact that she won the entire thing last year, I'm thinking that she is going to be a contender for that top spot in the women's lightweight. I think she'll quite comfortably take that. But then, yeah, where that positions her for the overall, not sure. But yeah, the numbers, that we have here, giving her a 405 total that have been nominated. I think these were from the Rising Showdown in 2025. So giving her points of 102.27 is yeah, obviously a fantastic total for or fantastic points and total for a sub 52 girl.
Yeah, she's obviously the front runner and she has to have a catastrophic meet with going like 3 for 9 or something if that is not going to transpire to a win. So
Yeah,
I think that Naya is of course the number one pick for this, and then we spoke about this a little bit early before we started here, but we have then the battle with Mariam and Bex for second place. Mariam being the one of the strongest 52 lifters in the country, and Bex being one of the strongest, and this point the strongest 57.
yeah,
And I know that we talked about it, and we kind of we probably have the belief in that Bex can pull this off. It's going to be down to the last deadlift. There's no
mm,
discussion around it. The benefit that Bex have is that the numbers that she had previously done, we know both me and Dan that she has improved quite a bit since then. She has a bit of a ace there in that her bench is moving really well. So she is nominated on 140, 82 and a half, 170. So we think that she can add a few kilos on each of those lifts. So I will put her slightly ahead of Mariam with a strong indication that it's going to come down to the last deadlift, how that is chosen. So no shade on Mariam. She could potentially threaten Bex, of course, but I think that Bex
absolutely.
will pull off a final deadlift to secure it. But
Yeah, I'm of course, knowing Bex and her training, I think we are in a strong position to put a big PB on the platform. Um, the thing with Marion is that she is in the 52s. She always weighs under. She's always weighing, 50, high 49s. And she doesn't really post much of her training at all. So it's kind of hard to get a gauge on where she's going to be. Those numbers that we have nominated are from Rising 2025. So they are the most up-to-date competition numbers that we have. Um, Depending on like the calculations that I made, I think if Beck has the day that I know that she can have, and if we go off those numbers from Miriam, it is going to be very close. And as you said, will come down to the last deadlift. So it is going to be fun for me to
yeah.
to be able to kind of coach that. I'm really, really looking forward to it. But yeah, I think that's the top three in the lightweight women's for sure. And it will be, yeah, a really good battle. Typically, last year, I think the top three overall came from the women's lightweight. But as we know this year, that's not necessarily going to
Mm.
be the case.
Yeah, and it's going to be super interesting to see. And we who are like really keen and interested about game day coaching, it will come down to also the lot number who because these girls have a very similar deadlift. Obviously, when it comes to the strongest lifter, Bex will outlift Mariam if nothing strange happens, but she's in a higher weight category. So it will come down to lot number for the deadlift, whereas they nominated them exactly the same. So whoever pulls last will have the winning weight in their hands. So yeah, it's going to be
Yep.
exciting to see. Other than that, I mean, we have some usual suspects here. We have Reva, um, Angelica Castillo and Lenka and Janelin also. And but they're not gonna have with the anything with the top to do. I mean, they are have competed a few times. Reva in particular is an up and coming girl that we've been having in our community for a few years. So just hope that
Yeah.
all of them do well and break new PBs and have an amazing time.
Yeah, for sure. So I think if we take it onto the women's middleweight now, there are some kind of old faces here in terms of people that we're familiar with in the community, but then there's also a few new lifters. And I think, if we look at the uh, nominations, we go through the top three just to kind of start us off with. And we have a name, I think, that even when, we're training, this girl kind of flies under the radar, just keeps herself to herself and
Mhm.
comes in and all of a sudden you see her crushing these big weights. So it's Marlene van der Speck. I hope I'm
Mm.
saying the name correctly.
Mm.
And she's nominated in first. Um, and she has the points that she's nominated and the total is from when she competed 57, this time competing 63, and we expect her to massively surpass those numbers, right?
Yeah, and also she's not probably not going to be a full 63 because she was umming and ahhing if she's going to be 57 or 63 up until the day that she entered the competition. So those numbers are quite old. She's been on the international stage before. And I think we're in for a little bit of a treat there because yeah, she's gonna if the girls doesn't know about her before, they will know about her after because
Get to know, yeah.
the most I mean the deadlift of 185 is also good, but what I've talked to her about and seen her perform is 170 squat and up to those 90-95 bench. Heavy deadlifts I haven't actually seen, but I don't foresee her being weaker than 185 if her squat have taken up a bump of at least 15 kilos since she
15,
competed
yeah.
last. So that's
Yeah, and that's big.
yeah. I
That's
probably
currently
it
on a
depend yeah.
projected.
Yeah, depending on what she weighs, I have her also potentially being in the run for overall winner. But for sure in this weight category, if she doesn't fumble the ball greatly, she will take it. And
Yeah,
yeah, then it will come down
with
to
the
it's going to be a really hard fight, I think, about 2 and 3 though.
yes.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
So I think we have Stavi and Karishma. So Stavi competed most recently at Desert Barbell in the power meet. And here the numbers that she's nominated: 157.5, 75, 192.5. Now that 192.5, I believe, was given a no lift
Yes.
at the power meet. So that was she's included that in there. I mean, you're allowed to include kind of whatever numbers you
Yeah.
so choose in this instance, and so that's given her this kind of points. Again, we're kind of she put her body weight 64.5, gives the points at 92.98. And obviously that's with potentially an inflated deadlift, but still a really solid performance when she was at the power meet. So yeah, I'm sure she'll be putting on a good amount of pressure to Karishma.
Yeah, 100%. No, she's we also it was the first time that I think I saw her lift live and she did a really big jump to her third dead from I believe 175 to 192. But she has
Yes.
phenomenal power and also a squat on like bordering 160 to 157 and a half. So what's the deal for Karishma is to getting as much as she possibly can in the squat. She has a stronger bench. She has a very strong bench, actually, up to close to 90 kilos.
Mm,
And then it's all a matter of what she can muscle out in the deadlift because Karishma is also a stubborn one. I know this for a fact. So I've known her for quite a few years and trained her for a few years in the beginning of her career. So it will really come down to execution and how many lifts these girls get. Because if Stavi starts missing too many lifts, the door is wide open, and she probably will have the deadlift in her hands for getting to that second place. So it all matter of how much charisma can push her. My money is kind of on charisma just because she has more experience, and I'm guessing that she'll be coached by Coach Raj on the day. That's what my guess.
Yes,
So I'm
yes.
guessing they will have punch calculations, right, left, center, and try to squeeze out as much as possible, put the pressure on Stavi so she'll feel quote unquote uncomfortable on her last deadlift. So
Yeah, I think that's kind of the key, I think, for Karishma is making sure that she makes all her squats with as little kind of effort as possible based on they at least from what I remember from the last Rising Showdown, the third attempt squat was an RPE send it, RPE 10. And obviously, that can fatigue the back. And if it comes down to, potentially just putting a little bit too much on the bar on the squat, it's a little hard, too hard, or unfortunately missing it, it can put that deadlift capabilities a little bit too far out of reach for what she might need to catch Stavi. So I think playing it a little bit kind of safe isn't the right word, but being very clinical and well executed on the third squat to give herself the best opportunity to pull to potentially beat Stavi.
yeah, yeah. No, I it's gonna come down for sure to that and a little bit of game day smartness. But if Melin or Mila execute what I think she can, there's no catching her. If she doesn't flunk one or two lifts and Stavi does a Hail Mary at the end, but
Yeah.
it's at least those are our top three for sure. Then we have some other girls that will probably do good, but not on this level. So
Mm.
yeah, for instance, we have one of the guest lifters being one of our all-time favorite people in lifters is Yang. She's sadly outside
Yes.
of competition, so she
Mm.
cannot place, which is usually annoys her a little bit.
Yeah,
But
just a
she
little
will
bit.
probably put up a great performance, I guess. Oh, I think
Yeah.
and expecting. She is a fighter for sure. Other than that is some familiar people. We have one of our coaches at the
Sam.
club, Sam, that's doing her second competition here, and I think that she will put a lot of kilos on her total, but not
Yeah.
necessarily in the position to pull for the podium or anything. But I think she can probably put a good 10, 15 kilos on her total, and that would be an awesome improvement. So yeah,
Absolutely.
other than
Yeah.
that, I don't think we have any
I think
other.
that's yeah, absolutely. I think that's about it for the middleweight kind of top contenders for sure. And if we go into the heavyweight women's now this is one of those kind of moments where
There's going to
we're
be a
gonna
breakout.
see yeah, we're gonna see hopefully a new talent emerge. And yeah, so Kiara. This will be her first ever powerlifting competition. Um, Coming in the 84 class, we don't know, we've got no other
I
data about her,
Yeah, and I
and
only know that she's a very like I spoke to her once or twice. Otherwise, just scouting her online, but very shy little girl. Just keeps seems like a super nice girl, and she's just violently strong.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If we go through the lifts, I mean, the squat, the we've seen it on her Instagram, 240.
Mm.
I mean, that is outrageous. I think I remember showing people that in the gym to be like, this is madness. So
Yeah,
the 240 squat, and she is a junior, right? This
yeah.
is the other thing is she's a junior 240 squat, 110 kilo bench, 205 deadlift, points. So total 555 and points at 104.81. Now,
The
yeah,
points we don't really know because I don't actually know what she weighs. It's a little bit. She
yes,
on the entry form it says 84. I don't know if she will be plus 84 if or if it actually squeezes into the 84 category. But I counted the
yeah,
points on I believe 84, and
yeah, yeah,
that is right up there. So that will
yeah.
be super interesting to see.
Yeah, so there we have like if we make that's again another plus 100 points, we could see potentially Mylene going plus 100 and obviously Naya going plus 100. So really, really great lifting. And I think when those numbers came in, I think Stas messaged to be like,
Hmm.
is this for real?
Yeah.
To which you could only respond,
Yeah.
yes,
It is.
yeah,
Yes.
for real, it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing Kiara lift.
Yeah, and then we have
Then,
also some old favorites, as in Astrid and Emily. Morgan is sadly out of this. She injured her foot, so she will not be
mm,
competing on that. Where Morgan Gladden will probably mix in on those podium places somewhere. But Astrid and Emily is probably the top contender. So Astrid will be in the top contention, I guess. It depends on where her numbers are, how far ahead she's actually going to be. Because I, since it doesn't train at visually in front of either me or Dan, so I don't really have a gauge of where she is now. Her old numbers indicate that
mm,
she's a solid second, but
yeah, and I think, I've seen some of Astrid's training um, on Instagram, but it's not, not much. I know based on Instagram that she was carrying a
mm,
bit of a back injury,
mm.
and she wasn't able to deadlift or lift as well as she would like. So yeah, those numbers, I think the 175, the 87.5, and the 220. I'm not sure if she achieved those as a 76 or if all of those were done as an 84. So yeah, it will definitely be interesting to see where she is when she lines up next to Emily. Emily competing for, this will be her third competition. Masters lifter as well. As Astrid, I believe, and coming from training just general gym stuff and kind of making some really, really great progress. She will, I think, get her body weight to be around 76. We're not feeling the pressure to drop her directly down into 76, but we'll certainly get her close. And yeah, the numbers that we have nominated, I do believe that we can add 5 to 10 kilos to the total on the competition day, which would, I think, put her right in the mix with Astrid for second.
Yeah, we have an interesting scenario there when Emily is coming, kind of like having those newbie gains, if you call it that. But and also Astrid, and that's right. The only thing I saw on Instagram was when she was happy that she could deadlift again,
Yeah.
and obviously deadlift being where she mainly produces her total.
Yes.
So if she obviously, and this is not to disaster, of course. Like she will probably have her top end a little bit lower, and Emily comes like that. Maybe they intersect exactly on that critical point, and then we'll have a battle right there also. So, and
Absolutely.
especially if
Emily,
they weigh the same, it'll be gonna be
yeah,
tight.
really interesting. Emily having the bigger bench. Maybe their squats will be kind of similar, but Astrid will probably get the last say with a bigger deadlift. And Astrid's coach Amira is a great game day coach. I'm sure he will load the right weight on the bar to try and secure Astrid the highest placing possible. But yeah, that's definitely going to be a nice battle to watch.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth pointing out here a guest lifter that we have
Oh yes.
coming from the UK, although I think
Yeah.
she's currently working in Kuwait. We have uh, Temitope,
Mm.
and she is an international standard lifter.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, we're looking at a lifter that in this category 76 squats roughly around 200, or she nominated on 200, benches 120, and deadlifts 240. So she is, if it was a competition that she could actually be in for this weight category or this group, she will be far and ahead. She's looking at a, or you're looking at a GL point of close to or about 110, which is really, really good. Very
Yeah,
good standard. But
absolutely,
we just have to
absolutely,
mention her. She
for
just
sure.
happens also to represent Bethnal Green Weightlifting Club, which, as I understand, is really like a, what do you call it? One of the most legit weightlifting and powerlifting clubs in the whole of UK.
Yeah,
What do you call it?
yeah,
Yeah,
OG,
she's
OG for
OG,
sure. So
OG. Yeah,
yeah, hell yeah.
it's gonna
So
be super
it's going to
interesting. Looking
be
forward to that.
yeah, mm,
All right,
some really big weights. Yeah.
let's move on to the lighter men's. And here it's a lot of lifters. Just need to count this.
Yes.
So we have I
I think
think
we have
18
19.
lifters, 18 or 19
Mm,
lifters on the roster. And some here we have like a lot of newcomers that haven't competed or have done one or two competitions, competed for a few years. So we I mean, and their rate of progress can be really, really high. But we also know that if you have not competed and you're going to put in your nominations, well, sometimes you kind of like take in the best case scenario, wind in my back, sun outside, and like good refereeing, I might be able to do this. And I'm expecting some of these totals to maybe be inflated by not their ego, but they haven't never been in front of referees before. But that goes for a lot of the like the mid pack to low pack. But on the
mm,
upper end of the spectrum, we have some seasoned lifters, and I think the most seasoned one being the smallest one, which is Khalifa Mohammed,
mm,
59 lifter, and I think it's awesome that we have a 59 on this level. So he's nominated on 555, and I do believe that he will fight off the other guys with that because he also, even though being a 59, he has a pretty massive deadlift, so he will probably also be able to load the weight that is needed to clinch the win if he would have any stiff opposition, which I don't really see that he will, but that will be my front runner at
yeah.
least. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, as a 59, the total he's on, it just that pull, that 250 is fantastic, and I think gives him real advantage. He'll leverage that as best he can for sure, so that it gives him that highest placing. You've got David, who is then we have him in second place. He's got that 600 total as a 74. 88 points, 88.09 to Khalifa's potential 91.84, and I think David is one of these guys that he will bring the fire. He will bring the hype
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
He will not give in without a fight.
Absolutely not. I've seen so many videos of David on Instagram pulling deadlifts for one rep that you're like, man, that was everything he had, and he goes on to pull it for like three or four more.
Mm.
So you can bet that he's going to load something that he needs to place as high as he possibly. He's not going down without a fight, and if Khalifa misses, it could potentially open the door for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, I with Khalifa being now even more seasoned than the last couple of years, and I think that he being quote unquote he's a very invested lifter. He takes his training very, very seriously, for what I know
Yeah.
at least. And I think Hussein does that also. He's
Yes.
66 kilo compadre. So I
Yeah.
don't see these guys slipping up massively. So I think that I have Khalifa at one. I have David due to his grit in second. But if Dave starts missing some lifts, I do think that Hussein can also easily snuck in and pull for that second place, because these guys are also, all three of them, the same deadlift capacity. Dave,
Yeah.
being quite a lot heavier than these guys, he has a pretty big advantage on the squat in terms of absolute kilos. But
Yeah.
in the deadlift, they're roughly the same. So it will come down to lot number again, and who will put the winning or the medal deadlift on the bar. After that, I don't see anyone. It depends a little bit on. I'm not too familiar with Nawaf Abdallah and his training, but
Yeah.
he's also, if he makes good progress, because he only competed also 1 year, so he can also be there in the mix somewhere. But that's the
Mm-hmm.
only one I see from what we got visuals on that could actually threaten the top three.
Yeah, definitely. I think if someone slips up, if someone's too focused on the kind of the attack, the offense, they might slip up on their defense and leave the door open for someone to sneak in, So that will be a really good one to watch. And like you say, will come down to, who is going to be able to load that weight on the bar to take the win. So yeah, super interesting.
Yeah. We're gonna move on to the middleweight category. And here we have a shit ton of lifters. We have, I think we have close to 25, 28 lifters. We have some guest lifters also.
Yeah.
But it's a long row of lifters. Some of them are doing it for the first time, or at least haven't competed a lot. Some have done 1, 2, 3 years. And then we also have some solid veterans. I think the most seasoned of them all is Stas himself, who will compete in the 83 category.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's just off the bat say that it's gonna be tight. I think this is the tightest category in terms of the 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even five, depending on how it shapes out. And this will be a battle. I think we both will be just below or around the 100 points. It
Yeah.
can be that all the top three are just below 100, or they can all be above 100, because we have a few sleepers there. I think mainly John Endoso, that we all recognize and are familiar with. But we haven't just seen him in the 93 category, which he is now. So let's
Yeah.
and then together with Alan and Stanislav is probably the front runners, and with a little bit of a flag also for Mohammed Tarek also. Give
Yeah.
me a
And
breakdown
Orson.
yeah, yeah, Orson also, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, right. I think John, obviously, the numbers that he is nominated are from when he was competing as a 10 or like weighing around 105. Like the squat is a gym 325, the bench is a gym 200. The deadlift, I'm not sure if he's pulled 285 in comp, but we know that his best comp total as a 105 is 787.5.
Hmm.
Do we think he's going to get close to that as a 93? I don't think so.
Don't think so.
Um, but let's see. I mean, he's one of these guys that he trains hard, and we see him training and he loves it. And he also loves competing. You can always see that smile on his face, particularly when he's squatting. So you can be sure that he's going to get as close to those numbers as he can, a whole weight class lighter. So I was thinking like 300, maybe just north of 300 on the squat, 180 to 185 on the bench, and maybe 270 to 275 on the deadlift.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I
putting
agree.
which
And
yeah.
The only thing I said, I have a very fresh visuals from yesterday when this is recorded that he pulled a very hard 280, which is obviously as the main lift on that day. I don't foresee him pulling 280 on competition after hard squats. I think you're completely correct there with a like mid 270 if he gets three lift in the deadlifts. Somewhere north of 180, I'm hoping. In the bench, that would be awesome. As a 93, really awesome, obviously.
Yeah, yeah,
And then also depends on how much you can squeeze out in the squat. But I don't really foresee him doing too much more than 300 because he's just now kind of touching into the 93, and it is a different feeling. But he will do the best squat in the group. I am pretty sure. Depends on if he gets all his squats. So I
yeah,
will put
yeah,
him
for
there
sure.
around, yeah, so, somewhere there around
Yeah,
what's that equaling like a two, sorry, 760
760-ish,
60.
760, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
I agree with
about
that.
750, 760. Yeah. So yeah, that will be interesting to see how that shakes up because yeah, we haven't seen John compete in this lighter weight class. So it will be interesting to see how he holds up there. And then obviously we come down to Alan then. Okay, Alan who took victory at the competition last year. Here he does have the biggest pull out of the kind of the guys that we see in top contention. And that will give him the last word. So I think if he can stay within touching distance on that on the subtotal, he can put himself into the driver's seat when it comes to deadlift because we then go down to say Stas. Stas we know is a super consistent lifter. He is super experienced, 14 years competing. Has struggled with injuries with his hip in the past. How his training is going at the moment, we don't know. I mean, he recently started getting coached by Pavel,
Yeah.
Agata's coach. So it'll be interesting to see how he is shaping up. Of course, we also have the extra variable that he's going to be, you know, essentially running the competition over the course of the weekend. So some added stress in there for him as well. But yeah, you have Stas down, I think, as to take the middleweight, right?
Yes. So this is with the because it's another thing in player also. Is this does he need to go full on? Because he's running the competition. He is also trying to secure his kind of like slot as the top 83 in the nation. And he doesn't necessarily have to go full bore for that. But if he does, and he has good momentum with his new coach, I see him out edging the other boys just slightly. I think that the main contender, if he can get 9 for 9, is Allen. Because Alan did on our in our club a few weeks ago, he did a 280 squat. However, barely pulling 320. Then I would have gotten that lift as a no lift because it was a little bit iffy on the lockout. But he still has perhaps more than 270 in the squat. The bench is there circling around the high 160, maybe 170, but then he has the biggest pull. So if Stas does not go full bore, and Allen has 6 for 6 after the squat and bench, then I think Allen can take it. But it
Yeah,
is going to be tight. This is for sure the tightest class, and it's going to come down to like those last pulls. And Stas have the downside of being by far the I won't say the poorest, but he has the lowest deadlift of them all.
yeah,
But he
yeah,
also have a phenomenal bench. So imagine if you can do
yeah,
like a 265, 270 squat to 200 bench, which I know they want to do. And then all of a sudden, well, I can pull 265 and you can't catch me. So,
yeah, for sure.
um,
For sure. That is his weapon. That bench press is huge. So if he can collect be as clinical as possible, make all 6 lifts on the subtotal, he is going to be hard to catch for sure. Particularly then, notoriously it's been his deadlift that he's had to pull back because of his hip issue. So if
Yeah.
he's in, this thing where maybe he can't go full on the deadlift, he'll have done enough already anyway on the squat and the bench. So yeah, let's see. But I think then, Orson, um, you know, 305 deadlift as well.
Yeah.
In the 93s, 730. Again, if people start making jumps and taking risks and not quite nailing what they need to do, then you've got Orson, you've got Mohammed
Mohammed
Tarek
Tariq.
there that are kind of sniffing around, and potentially could disrupt things on the top 3. So yeah, this one is really, really close.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, just because I'm gonna be for the sake of this, I'm gonna say it's gonna be Alan, Stas, and then John.
Yeah. I mean, and
That's
it's a
gonna be
toss up all of them are gonna be for sure gonna be a battle. And also we have to mention Musa also coming in, speaking of heavy deadlifts, 338 had he pulled Asian record. And as far as we know, he is outside of the competition, as in gonna aim to lift for Lebanon. It was a little bit unclear because in the actual sheet that we got, it's didn't say expressively Lebanon, but we kind of we think so at least. But he's a phenomenal deadlifter. He's gonna put on a show, and I wouldn't be. I think he can probably go for a 339 or maybe even the golden 340.
yeah.
Maybe. Let's see. But
Which would
yeah,
be, yeah, wicked to
huge.
see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the class to kind of like be kind of looking at closely, because it is gonna be fine lines there.
Yeah.
And then we come into the heavyweight.
Yep.
Now this one's kind of interesting in that Adam Fuller, a guy that has been in the community competing for a long time, competed internationally for GB, very, very good lifter, you know, arguably I think the top male lifter currently in the region. And we don't know if he's 100% going to do it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
kind of, if he does do it, and if he does get at least kind of close to his top strength, because we know that he's been carrying an injury for a little bit and struggling with that, and if he comes in and he's first time in the 105s, if he's able to put something reasonably close to his best on the bar, yeah, he's gonna take it.
Yeah, I
But
mean, so this
for sure.
822 PB that he has is from actually from a UK selection meet as a 93, and that was done back in, I'm just gonna see so I don't say anything wrong, 2023, and he's consistently improved his squat and his bench since then, and his absolute strength, and he's also heavier now, but he's just have that niggle that we don't know at today. If he is actually gonna lift or not. The last time I spoke to him personally, he said that he'll probably be able to squat reasonably all right. He's aiming to do a 200 bench, which he has yet to do on competition, and then pull kind of what's needed for the win. And that will probably be, I don't know, if he pulls 305, 310, which a normal Adam will do like as a last warm up before his heavy top single. But that is given that you are healthy. If you're not, it's not at all as easy. So, um, but yeah,
Yeah.
he for sure has the strength for way above 822 and a half. He just haven't materialized on the platform just yet. But if he is in any way, shape, or form kind of healthy, I will hold him as the top dog. Essentially,
Absolutely.
if he shows up on the way in and he starts lifting, then he'll win. And I think
Yeah.
that if he feels like it's not worth it, I'm not going to be able to perform up to my at least 95% stat, I don't think he'll lift. And then the door swings open for his brother, I think.
Yeah. Imran, been training really hard. And he competed power meet in was that October, November,
Yeah.
and hit the numbers are from there: 295, 177.5, 305, 777.5 total. Now, as a 105, I know that he's aiming for the big 800.
Mm.
He's squatted 300 in the gym. Um, I know that that's what he's got his eyes set on. He is a fantastic squatter,
Yeah.
really, really good. Um, I know his elbows give him issues on the bench and the deadlift. He has got a lot of like potential to make up some ground on the deadlift. But yeah, let's see. So he could pretend like he is currently locked in with like based on the points calculations we've made, just shy of 96 points.
Yeah.
Um, which, if Adam doesn't compete, puts him, in first. If Adam does compete, and doesn't have the best day, and
Mm.
Imran has a fantastic day, that maybe could be close.
Mm.
Let's see.
Yeah, and then we have actually a few lifters here, 3, 4 lifters if we look a little bit more in depth that could run in. Let's say that Adam doesn't compete, and then we have Imran is I think is a clear front runner in terms of points, but then we have and a very good friend and old favorite of both of us, Hamad. And then we have
Yeah,
one of my guys, Munter, in there. We also have Ruhi and Akile Ababi, which is circling around that kind of like 700 mark. Munter, I know since I train him, he put in 255, 193.15. That is not what he's done on competition. He's done 725 on competition. I know and he know that he can do more, and just as late as this week, he's done way more than that in the gym. But it's all a matter of getting attempts on the boards, and we all know that. But I
mm,
would uh,
mm,
I would say that point wise, if we can get him up to the best possible showing, I think he can reach roughly around 90-ish points, which will on points not threaten Imran. But we're aiming for a high total there to kind of like put our foot forward for a 120 guy in the national team if that happens. In the 120 we also have then Hamad, and he just goes about doing his thing. He doesn't talk fast, he doesn't walk fast, but damn, he's a strong guy. So he's strong in both bench and squat. A little bit deceiving numbers in the deadlift, because when I've seen him compete so far, he hasn't really tied it together for the deadlift. In training, though, he is quite often very, very decent deadlifter. So this 270 might be um, like slightly under it is under his top capacity. It's just a matter of tying it together on the comp podium. So. Um, I kind of let's say that Adam is out. I would say Imran. I kind of want to back my guy Munter that he ties it all together, and it will be an epic fight between him and Hamad for the remaining 2 slots on the podium. And then let the best man win there. But it also depends a little bit
yeah,
on what shade Hamad is in, because it's a little bit hard to say because he works super hard in his day job. These guys are obviously coming out of Ramadan just recently. Hamad, of course, have
mm,
a big family to take care of, and a lot of factors around. Whereas Munter doesn't have
yeah,
that, but he needs to tie together a lot of stuff in his
yeah,
surroundings anyway. But it's gonna be
yeah.
there again, gonna come down to making a lot of attempts, and I'm saying this to my guy.
And yeah, Munzer, at least he doesn't have the pressure of making weight, you know, as it's kind of like a bit of an open class in a sense. He doesn't have to weigh bang on 120. So you don't have to be kind of pulling what little hair you have left
Yeah.
out, half an hour before weigh-in shuts. But I think he's come a long way, and I know he wants that deadlift, the national deadlift record, um, which he's tried now. I think maybe 4 times,
Yeah,
3, 4 times. Still not got it, bro.
yeah,
It's still mine.
yeah.
But I'm hoping that he gets it this time. And yeah, like that'll be a good one to see. So yeah, I think I agree. Like I think it would be if Adam's there, Adam, Imran, and then between Munzer and Hamad, I will. I'm gonna go young buck. I'll say Munzer
Mm.
will take it if that's the case, and if it's Adam's not there, the same order. It'd be Imran, Munzer, and then Hamad. That would be my prediction.
I agree. A guy I think we should mention here also is Ryan McCann, super solid 120 lifter from Ireland. I foresee him having the biggest total of the day, even if Adam comes in and lifts reasonable. Adam has to push on the gas quite a bit in order to outlift Ryan, because Ryan is a
Yeah,
120 lifter, but he will way over, I guess maybe a little bit, or way thereabout somewhere.
yeah,
Okay,
because I think he
maybe,
wants to use it as a qualifying
yeah.
total. So he is going to be kind of, I would say, weighing 120
Yeah,
or
so true,
just
true.
slightly.
Yeah, he will probably weigh a little bit below, because he is a heavy. He will weigh over his usual 105. He will be in the mid 115 maybe. But it's really, really
Yeah.
solid, super strong. His training has been looking awesome. He had a little bit of a back tweak here, a week out from, or a week back. But then he seems to be back on track. So I think we can foresee. For sure a squat in the range of 310, 320, mid 90, 190 bench. And he has also done some really good strides in the deadlift. I personally saw him pull 4 reps on 300, which is obviously pretty good.
Mm,
Yeah. But he's outside
yeah,
of
yeah.
competing.
So
He's true to his Irish compadres.
absolutely. So, but yeah, a really great lifter, super solid. No messing around.
Yeah. We also have to mention, of course, and speaking of deadlift, that we have another mega puller in Tarek coming in also. I'm assuming that
Oh
him and
yes.
Musa, even though they're not in the same category, I'm assuming that they're gonna battle it out a little bit. Who have the right to say that they're the best deadlifters? I expect nothing less than a three. If Musa pulls 339, I'm expecting Tarek to pull 340. So let's see.
Absolutely. That'd be great. So, all right. So let's go into the overall. Let's kind of just get your kind of thoughts on the men. Who do you think are going to make the top three men overall?
Yeah, so if Adam is in some way ready to lift, I think he will clinch number one. And then I need to, of course, back my pick of Stas in that middle category. So I will go Adam, Stas. Then it's gonna be a toss-up then again between John and Alan, but I said Alan before, so I'll say Adam, Stas, Alan, and if Adam isn't there, will be Stas, Alan, John then, and it will be all
Okay.
from the same category. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'll go Adam, Alan, Stas, or um Alan, Stas, and uh, John. I'll say, but
Mhm.
I'm looking and I'm thinking, Mohammed Tarek is sniffing
Right
around.
there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna have him like in the mix.
In the
He's
mix.
kind
Yeah,
of like one
yeah.
foot on the platform on the podium with John. And then for the girls, then
Mm,
obviously the one that we don't have clear knowledge on would be Mylene.
mm.
But if she's there,
Mhm.
what are you
She,
thinking? What are
she,
your top
I
three
know
girls?
she's and the people that have seen him train knows that she is Very, very laid back. No hype, no spotting, no nothing. Just comes in, do her stuff, which I really appreciate. But then again, I know her top end ish in squat. We talked about her bench, and then we assume like some sort of reasonable increasement in the deadlifts. I have her at roughly around yeah that 100 point mark. But
Okay.
if Kiara does what she can, I think Kiara will actually take it. Knowing also, it depends on who's going to coach her on the day. Also, if she just rocks up and just I'm going to do my thing, I don't really know where I'm at. I think that that could stab her a little bit in the back. But if she has someone knowing that she can go on the numbers and Naya done earlier in the day. She can design that she doesn't have to overextend in the deadlift, for instance, because we have to remember that 240 squat was absolutely max. She didn't
Yeah.
have 1 kilo more than that, and that is a huge performance. So I don't foresee her putting too much more on that. But if the one that coaches her knows that, and she'll maybe open up at I don't know 205, 220, 235, and that's good enough. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
But and then do a bench over 100, and she pull what she needs. I must because she is the strongest girl there. And it will come down to if she have a good handler or not. Also, what she weighs, because we've kind of like
Yes.
calculated that she weighs around that 84-ish mark.
Hey,
She's pretty short, but let's say that she weighs I don't know 90, then all of a sudden everything changes, and that goes for everything. This is a points comp. If someone comes in and
yeah.
weighing 2 kilos below the actual margin in the weight category, it changes. So we need to keep an eye on that also. But my picks, if you ask me, will be Kiara, Naya, and Mila. With Mila could also slam up and maybe even threaten the top dogs if Kiara drops the ball a little bit. But
Yeah.
that will be
Yeah.
my clear front runners, three of them.
Yeah, I think I agree. And I also agree that, if Kiara's nerves get the better of her and she doesn't have the day, then, it really opens it up for Naya and Mylene to kind of to sneak first place. So, yeah, those would be the top three. And I think as it currently looks on paper, Kiara, Naya, and then Mylene with
It would be
those.
super cool if we can get 100 DL points on the podium for the guys and the girls, which is it's
Yeah,
completely possible. It
yeah,
probably requires Adam to put his shoes on the platform and smack it out of the park, and then the guys after him will kind of like have the meet of their lives, and then we have three guys over, because the girls have even higher potential of having three girls over 100, I think.
yeah,
No?
yeah,
Anyway,
which
so
is
it's
awesome. Yeah,
and also remember now we are recording this pretty much 1 month out, so a lot of stuff can happen. Very seldom you have like let's say we have 104 names. Very seldom 104 will show up. Will be someone get hurt, someone is sick, someone needs to travel, someone like have some other stuff going on. So this is given that everyone shows up, and that if someone for whatever reason doesn't show up, the whole thing swings around. But overall, it's super exciting. This is the deepest regular competition that we've had. We had a few DB Classics before, then we had like good lifters in all of the flights, but this
yeah,
is uh, this is a huge step forward, I think, and a testament to kind of like how far the community come. Now we just have to have these people rising above the cream. I think Kiara can be one of them, of course, to kind of like sure. If I see we say it again, she is a junior.
yeah.
So how many guys
And
do you know
yeah,
squatting 240? How many junior guys? Not many. How many junior girls do you
no,
know? I'm pretty sure there's not.
one.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's
But
gonna be
no, it
awesome.
will be great. It will be great. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, look forward to seeing you
Yeah.
all there.
Yeah, we're gonna have a blast. I think the pretty much the whole community will be there, and I'm banking on a good live stream so you guys that are not there can tune in. And yeah, that's that. Right. Hope everyone is safe now and safe by then. And we say over and out, and see you in Jeremy.